Hey girlies, welcome to the I Feel You pod. I'm Jory. If you're done telling your dreams one day, then I'm your girl because I'm gonna help you create a lifestyle worth living. So come grab your coffee, cozy up, let's learn to overcome so we can become. And the best part, we get to do it together. Hey girlies, welcome to episode 2 of the I Feel You pod. I hope you enjoyed last week where we were talking about figuring out your why. And this week is going to pair super great with it because we're going to go more into depth about habit stacking. So I mentioned it a little bit last time about adding one habit a week mentally and physically, and you'll be able to track it on the PDF that is on my Instagram. But I really want to get at the root of what habit stacking is. And essentially it's just a behavioral change. So everything that we do comes from a formed neural pathway in our minds. And that sounds like a super big word. And literally the only reason I know it is because my therapist told me what it was. And it's basically when we form a habit, it's something that's like created in our minds to be an immediate response to something that we experience. And in order to form a new neural pathway, it takes about 10,000 times of something to be repeated or 3 months of doing it to form that new neural pathway. So when you're forming a new neural pathway, it's allowing you to not think so much about responding to whatever it is that's causing the reaction. So a lot of my information today is coming from a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear, and a little bit of my MO is coming from my coach, Liza Marie. She has an awesome program. But I want to just give credit where credit is due because I am not super brilliant. I just looked stuff up, figured it out, and applied it to my life. So forming a new habit is a response to a cue. So a cue is like something happens, right? So for example, you're at work, you're super stressed out. So that's the cue, right? Like stress is the cue. And then your thought is I don't want to be stressed out anymore. I want to think about something else. So like you're craving a different thought. And then there's a response to that. So you're like, boom, here's some Dove chocolate. I'm going to grab that. You put the chocolate in your mouth. You're thinking about what the chocolate tastes like. So there's a reward to the response to the craving, to the cue. So now there's an association in your brain, like subconsciously, that when you get stressed, you're going to eat chocolate. And that's forming that neural pathway for you in your brain. And they allow us to, like I said earlier, they just shorten the processing time and rely on a first response. It's like muscle memory when you're at the gym. Once you get like a movement down, or if you're like a dancer or something, once you get something down, you don't have to think about how to do that thing anymore. It just comes naturally to you. So in the book, there's 2 phases. There's the problem phase and then there's the solution phase. So in your problem phase, that's the things that I just addressed where it says your cue and your craving. So those are the problems, right? And then you have your solutions, which are the response and the reward to the cue and the craving. So something happens, you're triggered to take action, you take that action, your craving is satisfied. So when you look at like the training aspect of like your brain, it's because it's behavioral at its core, you can take this like as a training approach or as a teaching approach. So I like to think like if you're a mom and you have kids that you want them to brush their teeth, right? Like that's a very important habit to have. You don't want stinky breath kids, okay? So you teach them that habit and they're not gonna get it like boom right away. Like you have to remind them every night, right? Like, okay, we're going to go brush our teeth. Okay, we're going to go brush our teeth. But by the time your kid is like 11 or 12, maybe even younger, they already know that before they go to bed, they brush their teeth because it's a habit that you instilled in them. There was repetition in it. So you can also look at it if you're not a mom. I'm not a mom. Well, I'm a dog mom and my dog doesn't listen to me. So we don't take the approach to dogs. But if you're like a new hire comes onto your job and it's your job to train them, you're not going to just show them how to run the register one time. Like, it's something that has to be taught over like usually a 2-week period, because that repetition is what causes it to become a habit to that person. So when people are being trained, there's a repetitive process to get it stuck into your mind, right? So remember this while you're implementing your new habits, okay? You have to be patient with yourself. You're not going to get it perfect every time, and it's okay. It's okay not to be perfect. If you're a perfectionist like me, you literally just have to tell yourself it's okay not to be perfect. And I don't know if like, maybe you're an all or nothing girly. That is me 100%. And I am very much working on it. It's something that can like be phenomenal and super great, because then when I'm all in on something, like I'm all in, that thing is getting done. There's like no nooks or crannies that's missed. Like, it's done, right? But if I'm not all in on something, then I'm literally not in, like, at all. Like, I don't half anything up, okay? Like, I'm in or I'm out. So if I have something that I need to get done and I'm nothinged out, that thing is not getting done. So it's helped me, but it's also hindered me. But something that I was reading on Instagram, I love Instagram, and you should love Instagram because you're following me on Instagram. But something I read on there was all or something over all or nothing. And it might sound silly, it might sound dumb, but like, it's literally helped me change my brain into thinking like, okay, maybe I can't do 100%. Not that like I shouldn't give it my all, but it's better to give something than it is to give nothing. So when you're working in these phases of habits and you're not perfect, but you're still trying, that's your all or something. And it's good to be there. So there are 4 steps in the book that help you kick the bad habit. And they have like specific names, but I kind of renamed them a little bit because I have a lingo and I like to talk the way that I like to talk. I feel like it speaks better to me. So number 1, make that thing disappear, baby. Okay, so whatever that bad habit is, that thing's got to go. It's got to disappear. You got to like shove it in the closet, throw it out, go, like that thing's got to go, okay? Number 2, make that thing ugly, okay? It needs to be undesirable to you. You don't want it. It's ugly, it's nasty, it probably stinks, it's busty, crusty, disgusty, okay? Number 3, make it inaccessible. Like, lock that up and throw the key in the belly of a whale or something. I don't know. Get rid of it so that you can't even get to it. And number 4, make it repulsive. Don't make it desirable. And they're all fairly the same. It's basically make yourself not want it and get it out of your sight. You're like, wow, profound, Jory. Thank you. That's so much easier. We're going to break down each of those things because it's easy to say, well, make it inaccessible. Well, make it ugly, make it undesirable. But there's steps and processes to doing those things. So to give you an example, you're wanting to change your style, okay? You want to start dressing a different way. You want to like feel confident in the way that you're presenting yourself through your clothes. So you take the thing that makes you feel not confident, even if it's comfortable. But if it doesn't make you feel confident, then you take that thing and you put it in the drawer that you never go into. And if you say that you don't have one of those drawers, you're lying, because we all have one. Or you put it in that like back corner of the closet that never gets touched, but you keep all the clothes there because maybe one day you might need something from there. So you put that out of your sight, okay? But then you don't just stop there, because like we talked about last week, when you get rid of a habit, it has to be switched. So we don't feel lack, so we don't feel void, so we don't feel sad, like something was taken from us. So if it's a pair of sweatpants, go buy a cute pair of cargos, because listen, every girl needs a cute pair of cargos. I'm in them right now. You probably can't see because I think the shot is like waist up. But cargos are my fave. but you replace that clothing item with something that fits the style that you're desiring, or like the way that you feel confident. And if you're feeling kind of bold, which I'm usually pretty bold, then you could, instead of just putting that thing in the undesirable closet corner or the drawer that you never go into, you could throw it out. You could put it in the garbage. You could drive it to Plato's Closet and go get some money for it, and then go get a piece of clothing that like you actually like. But you have to swap and replace. So there's like a positive taking the place, and it's not just a hole and something missing, right? So when you make, when you make the purchase of that new thing, right, you have to make that accessible. So put it on the top pile of your clothes in your drawer. Put it in like the first thing that you see to hang up when you're in your closet. Or if you're like a lay my clothes out before, like the night before girl, put that thing on your bed. You wake up, you see it, like put it in front of your face, okay? So that's essentially how we get rid of a bad habit and then replace it. But then we have to create a good habit. So by doing that, we got to put that thing in your face. We have to make it obvious, okay? We have to make it desirable. We have to make it easy and accessible, and we have to make it satisfying. And when you do this, it's like opposing the bad habit losses, right? So when you have your bad habit, what did we say? We want to make it disappear. So what do? With the good habit, you make it obvious. You put it right in front of your face, okay? Then 2, you make it ugly if it's a bad habit. So then you make it attractive. You make it desirable. You make the good habit desirable. If it's bad, then you make it inaccessible. So when it's good, you make it accessible. You make it easy to get to. And then you make it repulsive if it's a bad habit. But then if it's a good habit, you make it satisfying. Okay. So we'll get like way deeper into like the details of those things on the next episode, because I'll be here for an hour with you if I do it right now. So I want to go into how we can like best switch that bad habit to the good habit. And doing that is like taking a current habit that you have that's like kind of indifferent, like it's not good, it's not bad, but it's like something that you enjoy, like a morning cup of coffee. It's not bad, but it's also not like accomplishing anything for you unless like you need caffeine to wake up, whatever. But then you add your new habit to your current habit. So it's like it's hooking onto something that's already a part of your life. So it's either so even if it's replacing, you can still hook it to something that you're already doing so that it doesn't seem as difficult to get rid of something and to add something new. So for example, if you want to start meditating, right? You want to take your mental health a lot more serious. You want to be a lot more peaceful. You want to start praying. You want to start journaling, whatever it is. Pair it with like, okay, after I have my cup of coffee, I'm going to journal. Or after I have my cup of coffee, I'm going to pray. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to read. You marry your new habit to something that you already enjoy. So for me, I love a good shower. And that might sound so silly, but like, give me a body scrub, give me a face mask. I'm lighting a candle. I'm playing my favorite music on my little Google, and I'm taking a shower, and it's so therapeutic for me. And something that I needed to do was to start thinking more positively about myself, because I would always bring myself down and like comparative thoughts, or like trying to get away from the person that I was because I didn't like who she was. So what I did was I took something that I enjoyed, and then I added this habit of speaking kindly and thinking kindly about myself. And I remember a few weeks ago, I was in the shower, and like I was rushing while I was washing like my body, because it was like I don't know, like I'm still not super comfortable here, but I'm way comfortable than I was before. And this is also a place where like I invite Jesus into my thoughts, and I make this like a place of prayer for myself. And I remember like hearing, why, or would you wash your daughter that way? And I was like, I don't have a daughter, so I don't, what the heck? And I hear like, well, if you did, how would you wash your daughter? I was like, well, I would make sure that she was clean, but I would do it gently. Like, I don't want to hurt her skin. And God asked me like, so why don't you wash my daughter that way? And whew, I was unwell. I was like weeping, but it was like, now I'm so much more intentional, even though it's like such a small, simple thing, with the way that I wash my body, so that I can value and love myself the way that the Lord loves and values me. So I took that time to start thinking about how I'm worth washing myself in a way that I'm loved. So when it's your thing, when you're adding your new habit to your current habit, you need to pick a time and you need to pick a place. And then it's like, you will do this thing at this time, at this place. So I will drink a cup of coffee at 8 o'clock in the morning in my kitchen, okay? Because you need your caffeine to wake up. Or I will read my book in my living room after I have my coffee. And you need to associate like your new habit with a place and with a time, and you're doing that thing there. So it's like you're holding yourself accountable, because if you're like, oh, I'll do it. Okay, well, when? And where? And if you just leave it there, you're not going to do it. I promise you. I can't tell you how many times I'm like, yeah, I'll get to it. And I don't get to it. It's like 9:30 at night. I'm in my bed and I'm like, oh, shoot. Nope. I did not do that thing, because I didn't hold myself accountable with giving a parameter of a place or a parameter of a time and when to do the thing. So, excuse me, girlies, I'm gonna have a little sip of coffee. So with your habits, it's something that you can put like in the tracker that's available for you guys, like when you're figuring out your why, and then the habits that you want to start making. And then you need to like, I'm telling you, I said it last time, you need to have something that's visible, something that's in front of you to remind you. So put it on your fridge, make it your phone background, or like send it to your friends and it's like, hey, I want you to hold me accountable. I'm doing ABC, and if I don't send it to you by such and such time, then hold me accountable for it. Accountability is uncomfortable because then it makes you have to do the thing that like you said you were going to do. But even though it's uncomfortable, it's one of the most helpful tools in allowing you to change your life, because now it's not just on you. It's not just like, okay, well, nobody's going to know like if I didn't do it, because it's just me and this piece of paper that I wrote it on. But when you involve like a person who's going to hold you accountable because they love you, then it's like, oh shoot. Granted, we should be doing it for ourselves more than we should be doing it for someone else. But if in the beginning we need that like push, like, oh, I don't want to disappoint this person, then let it be like, I don't want to disappoint this person. So I know that if I don't do this thing, I'm going to feel shame, or I'm going to feel bad, or I'm going to be like, they're going to make fun of me. I don't know, like whatever type of motivation you need. Sometimes you need somebody to be like, girl, what the frick are you doing? Like, you said you were going to do this thing and now you're not doing it. Like, why? Do you not care? Do you not love yourself enough? Or maybe you need somebody a little more compassionate. I go like back and forth because, and it's usually I get what I don't want. And it's like, I'm feeling super emotional and sensitive. And my friends are like, Jory, what the heck are you doing? I'm like, you're so mean. even though you're right, you're so mean. Or when I don't need the compassion, I just need you to kick me in my butt. And they're like, well, it's not that bad. No, it's bad. Get it together, Jory. So find accountability for these habits and make sure those habits are in front of you. And make sure you're making these new habits accessible and things that you can tie to what you already do. So if you're like, you're an Instagram scroller or you're a TikTok scroller, give yourself that time to like decompress in your brain or whatever. Like, okay, I'm going to scroll TikTok for 10 minutes, but then I'm going to start reading a book. I'm going to read 10 pages, or I'm going to read one chapter after I do my 10 minutes of scrolling. But like, tie your stuff together. Make the bad habits ugly, undesirable, unsatisfactory. Make them repulsive, okay? Make them make you feel like your ex made you feel, which is yucky and gross, I promise. So take your bad habit, that thing's your ex, take your new habit, and it's your new baby boo or your new husband, or just if you're single, it's still your new baby boo because it has to be. So take your habits, make them great, track them, get accountability, and yeah, we'll go more into depth with the details of like, how do we make it undesirable? How do we make it desirable? And all of that stuff next time. And I hope you girlies are having a great day. I love you. Okay, bye. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the I Feel You podcast. If you're looking for resources, you want to reach out to me, or you want to know more, go ahead and follow me on Instagram at ifeelyou.pod. See you girlies next time.